recording.
Okay. Yeah. Are you able to see the screen?
Yeah, I can see the screen.
Okay. Okay. This one.
I didn't know what you meant by the third one. My dad was gonna help me, but then he had to go somewhere, so I didn't do the
Oh.
third.
So till second you completed.
Yeah.
I'll show you. Uh, the third one is suppose if I give any number like 1 to 1. That means if you reverse this number
It's also
and
1 to 1.
yeah, it's also 1 to 1. So that means this number even the string civic. So if you reverse this number string also, it will be same. So
Yeah.
that means it is kind of polymer, palindrome. So you just need to uh, write. It is bit small complexity involved in this. I'll show you how to write this because it require two indexes like starting index and ending index. Or you want to practice this? Either of thing is fine. You want to practice, or shall I
Yeah.
write?
Can you show me how to do it? Yeah.
Yeah, I'll show you that. And here and first we'll take a number. And we'll create a for loop for this. For where I equal to 0, I less than num, or num bar length to get this as a string then. Yes, we need to iterate to the length of that. Dot to string dot length. And so I created one for loop for this one. Here I am going to create another variable. Actually, what I'll do is I'll start from this one index from here and other index from right side, and I'll check if both the indexes value are same, then it is fine. Otherwise, it is not a palindrome. I'll show you that. So now j equal to -1, and j is not required. Here j minus minus. If num dot toString dot j not equal to j, then we'll change here where is value true equal to true. By default, I'm just taking it as true.
Mm-hmm.
If it is not equal to true, then I'll change is palindrome to false and break the loop. Once it come back outside is palindrome, then I'll print console.log the number is palindrome we'll run and see if it executes, then I'll given number is palindrome.
Mm-hmm.
I'll change this to 1 to 4 and see. We'll debug. See. So here I'm taking toString dot undefined num dot give me a minute. I'll check once. It had it's not a palindrome. If I give 1 to 1, should print it as a palindrome. So what I did is I have taken a number 1 to 1 and I have created two variables because I want to check from this side as well as from the last one. So in the loop I am checking the first element and the last element. If both are same, then it comes to the next one, like 1 2 2 1 or 1 3 3. If I take this one, so it will check first one and the last digit. If it is same, then it will come to the second one and again the last but one. So like that it will check. So for that what I did is I am iterating from starting onwards, and in the second variable I am iterating from the last. And here I'm incrementing from the first and I'm decrementing from last. Even every time if we start from last, we need to decrease the index so that it will iterate all the things from last. If we start from first, we need to increase the index. So like that, and I am checking for the till the length. It is not required actually. Length by 2 also we can check. For safer side, I am checking till the end of the string. And here I am checking if the first index element and the last index element is not same. Suppose if I give 2 here, then it is not required to go to the next, because in first index itself it failed because it is checking for 1 is not equal to 2. And we are making the variable as false. That means initially we are thinking like the given value is palindrome. That means the value is true. And inside the if condition, the condition is false. That's why we are changing this value to false. That means it is not a palindrome. And I'm doing break of this loop. Once it comes out, I'm checking the value is true or not. If you don't specify anything here, it will treat this as a Boolean variable and it will check for the true condition here. If I give equal to true, or if I don't give anything, both are same. It will check for true variable. And if it is true, then it will print this one. If it is false, it prints this one. So it is bit complex, as I mentioned, because we need to iterate through from starting and ending. That is so if I change, so it prints it as a palindrome. Even in case of string also, if I specify in single quotes civic, I think it is already there. Num frequent variable is num. Okay, actually we have created other variable with name, variable num, and there it is number, I guess. So we have created lot with. So I'll change this variable to numVar or something, so that numVar. Here I'll change, because initially I added integer number variable, and now I am trying to add the string variable. That's why it is throwing error message saying you cannot assign string value to number. Yeah, if you see the given value is
palindrome.
I'll add palindrome because this is not a number, so default I'll add value here. So if I change anything here and it is not a palindrome, I'll come here. This is not a palindrome. Logic is inside this one only, this one. please refer once this logic.
Mm-hmm.
We have created two indexes, one is from starting and one is from ending. If both are not equal, then we are making the string or number is not a palindrome.
Yeah.
That is the logic here we have written. Okay. Now I'll go to my. Is it same or you created your own or?
Yeah, I created my own.
Okay, I'll So today what we'll do is we'll create a simple class and objects variables inside the class. Previously what we did is we have created simply the variables. It is like a global variable. I can access anywhere in this program. I can access these variables and I can use that. And there is no security or encapsulation for this variable. And so by using class, we can add these security and those things for the variables and methods. I'll show you how to do that. Class is nothing but some methods and some variables. So it will reside inside one class, one object that is nothing but a class. So for example, I'll show you that simple class I'll create. Just to give me a minute, I'll.
Yeah.
I'm getting a call. My meeting, my call. बड़ा वाला पेन करके नहीं है तो छोटा वाला दो ले दो हाँ हाँ ठीक है मैं अभी कॉल कर रहा हूँ Hi Shushrut, I'm back. I got
Yeah.
some call.
Yeah.
I'm going to create simple class. So every class, even if you write any TypeScript components or anything, everything starts with class.
Yeah.
Uh, Class. We take uh, animal, and it has every class by default. It will have one constructor. Constructor is nothing but creating a object inside construction. We can specify, or we can define, we can assign some variables which are present in this class, and we'll create it will basically instantiate this in this class.
Yeah.
So if I take one variable like type string, and inside constructor I can specify, I can assign this whatever variable we are passing. I'll assign this variable to this type, this local variable. We'll call this type as a local variable, and the constructor will pass another var of type string. And here, every local variable we access using this. This means in this class, I want to access some of the variables. So when I press type, when I type this dot, it will show all the variables which are present, all the variables and methods I declared inside the method, inside the class will appear here. If I want to access any of the method or the variable, we have to use this. This is a keyword in JavaScript, and it accesses all the variables and the methods inside the class. So what I'll do is I'll assign the variable value which I'm going to pass to this constructor. Now I'll create a method display.
So you can only use this under class.
No, I can use inside the method also. Yeah, inside the class we have to use this.
Okay.
I'm using same this dot type here also. It is a method I have created, and this is a constructor. So now what I'll do is I'll print a message. This dot type. When I press this dot, it shows me the method which I have created here and the variable which I have declared here. So these I'm going to print this method. Now to access these variables or this method, first what we need to do is we need to create an object of this class, so that I can directly access these variables or methods. Apart from that, if I directly, previously what we did, we have created a method and we directly used that method. So in the first class itself, see here we have created a method, and immediately next line we have called that method using two parameters. But in case of class, it is not possible to call the class methods. So first what we need to do is we have to create an object for that class. So to create a object for this class, animal. Any variable we can create. I'm just creating animal object equal to new. New is a keyword which is used to create the animal object. Like to create an object, we have to use new. Like this, we can create a object for this class. But here it is showing some error message saying the constructor is expecting one variable here. Expected is one variable, but got 0 because inside the constructor we have passed one variable here. So this is mandatory to pass the variable here, value of that variable. So if I specify dog or cat, so now this variable it will go to this constructor and it will assign the value type var. That means this dog value to this type. So if I access this type inside any of the object methods, so it will print me the value of dog inside this class. Now if I go and print console.log object type, otherwise I can anyway we are printing here. I am going to just call object.display. Object.display. So this will print, this will call this method and it will print this line with the value which we have passed to this class constructor. Now it is index.html. So if you see here, the animal is dog. So the concept here is any class which will have type like variable. This is a variable. Variables inside the class, and these are the methods. We cannot directly use this, access this method. To use this method, we have to use the class object. To create a class object, we have to use new animal object we are creating, and the constructor of this class is expecting one variable here and the variable which we have passed here. Now I am going to call this method on top of this object so that I can access the variable, the value of this variable inside my method. Outside of this class, this value is not accessible, but in this case it is accessible. I'll show you how to restrict that. So now if I go and print, actually initially what we thought is whatever variables I have created inside the class is not accessible outside the class. Like if I want to access this variable, actually these variables are, it should be accessible inside this class, but I can directly go and access this variable. I'll show you that. Console.log animal object dot type. So here the variable which is inside animal class, I am able to access the variable, but this is wrong actually. In case of class creation or using of class, we cannot access the variables. We can access only the methods, not the variables. If I access this variable, I can directly go and update this variable to cat. It will print me the cat. So if I run here, and first time it will print as a dog, type is dog, but without accessing this constructor or anything, I can change the value to cat. If I go and print this, it will print me the value as cat. Now the encapsulation is lost because I can access this variable and I can change this variable outside of this class. So to restrict these kind of accessing the variables outside of the class,
Make it constant.
TypeScript provide the access modifiers. Like by default it is public. If I specify it as public, that means it is accessible from anywhere.
Okay, so you need to make it a constant or static variable.
There are three kind of access modifiers we can say: public, private, and protected. So if I specify private, that means this variable will be used inside this class. We cannot access outside the class. That's why if you see here, it is showing error message saying the class, the type is private. We can use only within the class. That's why it is throwing some error message. So the best way to use the variables inside the class, we should use the modifier type as a private type. Now if you see, it is printing, but we cannot access. If we try to access this value from outside, it will throw error message saying it is a private variable, we cannot access. The other one is protected. Protected is nothing but a in between, like public and private. That means there is a concept of extending of classes. I'll show you how to extend the classes. If we use protected, I can access this value inside the subclasses, not outside the class, but inside the subclass. So if I create a class child animal extends animal. So this is kind of so the properties are the features which are already defined in this class. If I want to access those features inside my class, as well as I want to extend some of the features inside this class, so I can directly use the features of this class and variables, as well as I want to extend some of the methods inside this, I can use that. So if I want to use that, here I'll pass.
Does extends mean like it extends to the class animal?
Animal, yeah.
Okay.
Child animal type. So from here we need to, it will throw some message saying we should use, because we have a constructor here, the same constructor, the value we should pass, because we are going to use this child animal class, and we need to instantiate this variable. That's why it is showing as we need to use super and pass some variable, some parameter from here. We need to use super. Super is also keyword to access superclass methods or variables. We can basically instantiate some of the variables here. We can use that. So now I'm going to pass a variable here. So with this, I created a class and I extended, and in the constructor I used super. Super means it will call the superclass constructor with one parameter. If you don't specify this, it will show us some message. We should create a object of this by passing these parameters. So in the next one, child display, or we can directly use this. So now if I come here in the next line, now what I'll do is I'll create a object of this child type, but I want to call this method of parent. So what I'll do is I'll create a variable child animal obj equal to new child animal of child animal. This is not required actually. Otherwise we'll pass this parameter here. So I created a object type child animal, and if you see here, we don't have any methods inside this class, but I can access the parent method using the child class object. As we have extended this class, I can directly access the variable class method of this class. So this display is present in parent class, and I extended the animal class, and I am using some of the features of the parent class by using child object. So here it will first instantiate the cat here, it will come here, and it will call super. That means it will call this constructor and set the type variable here, and in the next line it will display this value as a cat, and but I don't have any method here. So if I come and execute, it will print the superclass method here. So this is a, and if I want to access this variable, right? So I specified this variable as type protected. Protected means I can access this variable inside my child class. If I'll create a variable, another method here. Display child where console.log the parent variable is this dot type. So here, if you see in this class, in this method, I am printing the variable of which is present inside my parent class. That means if we specify any variable of type or any method of type protected, it will be accessible inside the class, as well as the class which is inherited from this class. That means we have created a child animal which is extending the class animal. So that means the variables which are present here with the protected type can be accessed inside the child class. So if I come and print this to this line, it will print me the value of cat which is assigned here in the superclass. The parent variable is cat. Now if I change this to from protected to private, it will show me the error message saying you cannot access the variable which is there with the private security type access modifier. So that's why it will show this message. It is private, you can access only within the class animal. But if you specify either public, private, protected, public. So these three. So if I specify either public or protected, I can access this variable from child class. But if we specify private, we cannot access the variable from outside of this class. So this is the concept, and everywhere, even in if I create, we have created one component inside Angular, right? So sample app. So if you see here, we have created one component, practice component. Inside practice component also, if you see, it created one class which implements one interface. There is a concept of interface and class. If we create any class, and if I want to use any class functionality inside my child class, we need to use extends. If it is an interface. Interface is nothing but it is a skeleton of the variables and the methods. We don't have any implementation. Like if I specify in our example, if I don't specify this method, if I specify only, I'll create a interface here. Interface ABC. I'm creating. I think we have created one interface here. Interface employee. Similar way, we'll create one interface which does not have anything, like only method declarations will be there, but not actual implementation. I'll create a variable here. Employee intro interface. So here, if I specify, I can specify method like display, but I don't have anything here. It is simply method declaration. The class which is going to implement this interface, they have to implement this method. So if I create a class.
Uncle, your screen stopped sharing.
Oh, okay. हाँ मैंने बोल दिया 8:30 बजे तो आएगा. Is it visible now?
No.
Yeah, it is presenting. No?
Oh yeah, now it's loading.
Okay. So the similar way in Angular also, what we did is we implemented one of the interface which is already defined. Now I have created one interface with the method display, and it does not have anything. Like in our previous class, actually we have implemented that, like by adding some console statement or anything. But interface does not have any body. Interface methods. We can simply declare the methods like this. We don't have any body here. Like this, we'll have only method different declaration. The class which is going to implement this. I'll show you. Implements every interface. If I want to use this interface, I have to implement. For class to class, it is extends. For class to interface, it is implements. So in the above child animal, I have extended the class, but here I am using implements interface. So whenever I start implementing this interface, it shows me the error message saying there are some unimplemented methods. We have to implement those methods here. So we can directly use quick fix like this, or we can directly write that methods. So if you see here, the display methods, these are not required actually. We'll see if there is any problem. The variables also it is asking. So here if you see, the display method is implemented here. Here we have declared, and here we have to implement that by writing some of the methods, some of the console statements or any other logic here. So in a similar way, in our Angular, right, ng on init method interface has this method ng on init. So by default, whenever we create any component, it automatically adds this method. If we remove this method, it shows us some error message saying there is a ng on init method here which is not implemented. If I click here, it creates that method, so that we can implement any logic here. So this is the concept of But if I extend any class, right, it will not show any error message. As we have all the implementations for these methods, that's why it will not show any error message. But in case of interface, it will show message saying you have to implement that method. Then only things will work fine. So, and we can create an object of this class, and we can use the display function. It will print this. So basically, interface, and there is a concept of class. So we can, in multiple places we use classes as well as interfaces in actual programming. Whenever we start Angular programming. So this is a concept. I'll recap whatever I explained here today. So we created a class. Class will have different variables as well as the methods. If you want to initialize some of the variables, we use constructor. In constructor, we pass different parameters which are required for this method. So in our class, we have created a class type, a variable type. Inside my constructor, I am assigning the variable value which I am passing from outside of the class. And inside my display method, I am printing the variable which is assigned here. So for that, what I did is I created an animal object with new class name, and by passing some of the parameter to this constructor. And in the next line, I am printing the value using class object. Class object dot display, it displays the console message. So this is simple class. And in the next line, I have extended the functionality of this animal class. And here I haven't implemented this display method. As I have extended this class, I can directly use this method using in my child class. So if you see here, I created a object for child class, but I am printing. I can print
child variable.
Child method, but it internally calls the parent class method and it prints that value. And so, and the next concept is interface. Interface does not have any method definition. It will have only declarations, like, and whoever is implementing this interface, they have to implement all the methods which are present inside this interface. So we created one interface with the display method. It does not have any body. No body, but whenever I implement here, it shows me that error saying we have to implement this method and we have to initialize some of the variables which are present inside interface. So here I have implemented that, and I can create an object of this. Which is equal to new child class, and I can print dot this print child interface. And we have another concept called security access modifiers. Like we will have private and protected and public. Public is nothing but I can access the variable from anywhere outside of this class, even outside or inside of the child classes. But if I specify private, it is only restricted to this class. We cannot access the variable outside of this class. If we specify protected, then it will be accessible inside this class and the child classes which is extended this class. The variable is accessible and public is everywhere. This one, and so with this we can stop Typescript, and we'll create a simple UI things tomorrow in the by using Angular.
Uh-huh.
Meanwhile, please practice some of the examples I'll share with you for
Yeah.
using class and interface,
Mm-hmm.
so that we can start tomorrow actually Angular, and we'll learn some of the Angular basic concepts.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll send you the one or two problems. You can practice those using class
Yeah.
today. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, Sushrut. I'm stopping now.
Mm-hmm.
We'll meet tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
we'll discuss further.
Yeah. Bye, Uncle.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.
Yeah. Bye.